What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the BuiBros Football Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Quinn Bowie, and I cheer for the LA Chargers. Across from me, my brother Brandon.
And I cheer for your Minnesota Vikings. And today we're going to be looking at some salaries of NFL players. The top.
Overrated.
Ooh.
Overpaid. That's what we're doing. All right, we're not holding back.
Yeah, we'll be taking a look, a top list of certain positions and their highest paid players, and we will determine who is a bum and who's getting paid way too much, and see if we agree. We almost never agree.
Absolutely.
So we'll see.
Oh, brothers.
Brothers.
But if you're with us, thank you so much. Please, if you like what you're listening to, hit the subscribe button. Make sure to like the video and hit the bell notification just so you don't miss any of this. It really does help the channel out. Lets us know that you like what you hear. You want to be a part of the conversation. Just talk football.
Yes, sir.
So with that being said, let us do this. Tech it up, Brandon. Put it on the screen. Show us the top 10 paid quarterbacks of 2024 on a average per salary or average per year salary.
Yeah.
Now, before anybody wants to get nitpicky, I understand the topic of contracts lately. Oh, well, those numbers aren't actually the numbers that we're looking at. We're not getting that detailed here, okay? We're going with the dated. Hey, if some guy gets signed for a 4-year, $120 million, do the simple math, and there's your 30 mil a year. That's what we're going off, and this is the list presented by Spot Track. So it's a legitimate source. This is where we're going off of. Top 10. We've got Joe Burrow, Jared Goff, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson, Kirk Cousins, Patrick Mahomes apparently doesn't get a number, and Josh Allen there at 10.
I think it's because he's tied for 8th. That's what it is. They're tied for 8th.
Ooh, nice observation there.
Yes,
and don't worry about Dak Prescott. Nobody worries about Dak Prescott there.
Well, watch
sitting
this.
there at
Watch
number
this.
11.
This is how bad Dak Prescott is that when I scroll down one more, he's also tied with Daniel Jones. So
Ooh.
both probably overpaid.
Dak Prescott equals Daniel Jones. You heard it here first. So when looking at this list, Brandon, who is, in your mind, way overpaid? This guy does not deserve this type of money. You're taking way too much of your team's salary cap, and you are hurting the team's chances going forward.
Well, okay, so I can think of different ways to look at it. There's the simple, this guy gets paid too much. But then there's also when that guy was paid, it was probably worth it at the time.
Right?
And if I'm
you mean
at,
he got a contract at the time which was considered a higher contract, but now it looks like that contract aged well?
Well, no, it's more because all these guys are getting paid a lot. Yeah, there's a 15 mil difference between here and then Dak, like Joe and Dak. But,
right.
Who I'm trying to reference here is Kyler Murray. When he got paid this $46 million, or signed this $46 million contract, that was a big contract, still is a big contract. Has he lived up to the contract yet? Not sure, but likely no. Especially with the injury. But he, that was even though it was a top contract at the time, which it probably was the highest contract. I'm trying to think.
Right. Yeah, no.
It probably was,
I think so.
Right?
Yeah, because he just beat out Deshaun Watson. That was the whole debacle, is that Deshaun Watson got this fully guaranteed contract, and Kyler Murray wanted to beat that fully guaranteed. And
But if they signed at the same time, that Deshaun Watson contract is garbage. The dude hadn't played in 2 years or 1 full year, right? Or was it 2 years?
So are you a Kyler Murray hater right now, or are you a Deshaun Watson hater?
I'm a Deshaun Watson hater. I think out of this list, Deshaun Watson it has no business being close to the top of this list.
Yeah, that's it's tough to argue that, and for more reasons than just the contract. Um, you know, I was looking. We all know how much I like a good Bleacher Report list. All right, and then they came out with a list of regrading the 10 biggest NFL trades of the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And number 4 on that list was the Houston Texans trade of quarterback Deshaun Watson to the shiny Cleveland Browns. That was in 2022. And 5-year, $230 million fully guaranteed contract. In that, he had an 11-game suspension that resulted from the legal battles and those accusations. But over the first 2 years of the deal, the Browns have got 12 games from Deshaun Watson. And, 12 games of a former developing superstar in the league. Mm-hmm. Doesn't sound so bad. But then you think, look at those 12 games. Well, his yards per attempt fell from 8.3 from the Texans to 6.5 the Browns.
That's a big difference.
Well, Deshaun Watson barely cleared 80 passer rating in Cleveland. He's absolutely not. When he's on the field, he looks terrible. He looks terrible. I remember when he first came back and he's throwing balls into the dirt because the play is just not unfolding in the way he wants. He doesn't have that same improvisation skills that he used to have. Something is lost. He got the money and he said, "Well, screw it. Everything's guaranteed. Pay me my money."
Dude, horrible trade, and it hasn't worked out at all. And you're like, yeah, I'm happy that's not working out. I don't root for many players to not succeed, but that's like, come on, man. What a contract for a guy who, was doing well before, but you hadn't even seen him play in a year or two. I don't know why I'm getting that there was a 2-year gap.
Yeah, it was
because he sat
there
out.
Was a
he was like,
I'm
not going to play for the Texans. And then the year after, he got traded.
Right. He got traded. There was the suspension.
And then the fact that they paid him only $1 million for that first year, so that his
the Browns went out of their way to protect Deshaun Watson's earnings.
So weird, man.
I don't know what Deshaun Watson did in that organization to just pull those strings. And there are plenty of jokes that could probably be made and potentially get us canceled here. So we'll refrain.
Is that your pick?
No, that is not my pick on the list.
Okay.
Obviously, hey, I can't argue with you. But when looking at this list, let's start from 10. Josh Allen, he deserves to be in the top 10. Patrick Mahomes, same thing. Kirk Cousins, he is not only a great quarterback, a great leader for a team, quite durable no matter what happened last year with his injury, but he's also a great businessman, and he's great at representing himself. So absolutely does he belong in the top 10. Then we got a couple guys there, blah, 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 blah. Maybe we'll jump up. Lamar Jackson, yes, 2-time MVP, deserves to be in the top 10. He's in the top 5, listed at 4 here. Justin Herbert, you know it. Mm-hmm. Say no more. Jared Goff, yes, I am a Jared Goff fan after his resurgence in Detroit. I wasn't a fan of his in LA when he was on the Rams there. I thought he was boring. I thought after that superstar barn burner of a game, the Chiefs and the Rams, quite a few years back, what it was like 50-50s. They were both scoring 50 burgers. After that, I feel like he fell off a cliff, and maybe because of watching that Rams Patriots Super Bowl 5, 6 years ago, where it was just a low-scoring BS game. But his resurgence with the Detroit Lions has been awesome to watch, and that culture that they're building over there. They've got foundational pieces that they are locking in. And, then we get to Joe Burrow, of course. Joe Burrow is going to be up there, and I'm not sure who's going to surpass Joe Burrow. Will it be Trevor Lawrence coming up? I don't know. Has he proven to be higher paid than Joe Burrow in my mind? And you shaking your head there, it seems like we don't agree. So that leaves us with 5, 6, and 7. And some people may find this controversial, but Jalen Hurts, yes, he brought his team to the Super Bowl. He played at an MVP level, second-round pick. They had to pay him early after his third year because they didn't have the fifth-year option. I don't know. After last year's total disaster of a second half of his season and the playoffs early exit, like embarrassing. And well, that was after his MVP and Super Bowl season. So was it a one-year wonder? Did he, I don't know. Was it his OC? Yeah, Shane Steichen. He went to the Colts and boom, fell off a cliff. So the idea is that Kellen Moore is gonna rejuvenate that offense. Hey, I think he's the guy to do it. So let's see. Are we going back to Jalen Hurts 2 years ago? Potentially. And because there is that potential, he's safe. And you mentioned the other guy, and he's the one on my list. And of course, I don't argue anything with Deshaun Watson, but when I look at this list, Kyler Murray, 6th highest paid quarterback in the league, over the likes of Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. Like, that is gross. The guy who had in his contract that he needed to stop playing video games and pay more attention to learning the playbook. Yes, I'm paraphrasing. But then you look at his stats here. Yeah, 2019, he comes in as a rookie and he lights the NFL on fire as the number 1 overall pick, replacing Josh Rosen. Then 2020, let's look at combined yardage, because he is that scrambling type of quarterback. So it's not only the passing. I need to be fair. I need to incorporate the rushing as well. So 2019, his rookie season, he was at about 40, just under 4,300 combined all-purpose yards. In 2020, this was his big season, just about 4,000 passing and 800. So 4,800 total yards in 2020, and that's when everybody thought he was going to take off. But then you get to 2021. Well, now we're looking at 4,100 all-purpose yards. Then we look at 2022. And then we're looking at 2,700 all-purpose yards. Then we look at last year, and yes, injuries play a part, but that's exactly it. The best ability is availability, and he's not proving to be available. Last year, he had just about 2,000 all-purpose yards, $46 million a year, quite rich for my blood.
It is a lot, like I said. It's just, so when did he sign? He signed in 2021, is that correct?
Yeah, I'd have to take a look at that.
22, maybe. When he signed, they're locking down their guy. And their guy can throw punches with the best of them. And when you say, yeah, he's above Patrick Mahomes, well, all of these guys are above Patrick Mahomes. You know,
I understand, but I'm making a point that, again, other considerations to factor in with Patrick Mahomes in the duration of his contract. So as a total value of contract, Patrick Mahomes is unmatched, as he should be. But Kyler Murray, like, you say he throws the punches like the best of them when he's on the field. I don't know that to be true. I really don't. He's had some incredible help there with AJ Green and And now, and then DeAndre Hopkins and Hollywood Brown, obviously something more than what they used him for. If the Chiefs and Andy Reid are looking at him or have acquired him and are looking to make him a part of that offense, like he's had a good support system with a great run game with James Conner, who's scoring these double-digit touchdowns on the daily. He's had Zach Ertz at his finest. He now has Trey McBride, second-year tight end, going to be a potential superstar with the way that the second half last season went. He's had it all, and yet he put it together one season, and that's in 2020. It sounds like you agree with me with that argument.
How many? You were saying that 2020 was good, then 2021 was pretty good too. 4,100 all-purpose yards. Like, it's not bad.
He went from 48 to 41, and then he continued to crumble after that. Yes, 41 all-purpose.
The next season he had shoulder issues, or he had shoulder issues at the tail end of that 4,100, and then that progressed into the next season, and then he tore his knee up.
Right.
And then he didn't play until like halfway through this past season. I think
again.
Okay, so I've already made my argument for Kyler Murray in the sense that in our Mount Rushmore video. Now I know Kyler Murray was a controversial pick there to have him in the top 4 of the NFC, but NFC's a little weak. But I think that he has the potential to be amongst the best quarterbacks. I think when I watch him play, it's frustrating when you see him get played, when you see somebody play your team, you know, and this guy just gets to scramble and then throws to an open receiver because it's, you know, been 6 or 7 seconds since the play started. It's ridiculous. That's that guy. He's like, maybe you said it the other day that he was kind of like Russell Wilson, or maybe you said that about somebody else, but he's kind of like old school, like vintage Russell Wilson, where you just can't get him down and he just runs around and then all of a sudden he makes a throw and it's there.
Right.
When I look at this list, I'm not saying that he is the best. I'm not even saying that he's necessarily top 5 of these guys. But I think Deshaun Watson is clearly number 10 of the top 10 highest paid. And he's getting paid $100,000 less than Kyler Murray. So I think he's definitely worse than Kyler Murray.
Hey, I'm gonna agree with you. I'm gonna agree with you 100%.
Deshaun Watson, how many good seasons did that guy have? 2? 1?
He had some pretty good. No, he had more
2.
than that. And he was like MVP talk, bringing
Kyler Murray
the
was
Texans.
MVP talk in that good year. Because they went 11-0.
Deshaun Watson was more involved in those conversations. It was becoming Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes, and that quickly turned into to Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes.
Thing.
Now Joe Burrow, and all of the sudden, Deshaun Watson's fallen off a cliff here. But no, I'm with you. Those are the two. So, do you agree with us? Top 10 list here as per Spot Track. And on an average annual basis, who is the most overpaid, overhyped, overrated quarterback? And
Wait,
that...
Sorry, just to sum up, you're saying it's Deshaun Watson or you're saying it's Kyler Murray? You were arguing Kyler Murray.
I have to go with you, Deshaun Watson,
Yeah,
too. I have to make my case
above,
for Kyler Murray because you're Kyler Murray. Like, I don't know what it is about you loving Kyler Murray, but Kyler Murray's
good,
I don't dude. Kyler Murray sucks. All right, I'm trying to keep it down a little bit here, but Kyler Murray's garbage. The fact that they had to put that clause in his contract about not playing video games, give me a break.
It wasn't that at all. It was that he needs to study.
All you need to do is study. Yeah, because he's playing Call of Duty the whole time.
That's a meme. That's what people made up, man.
Oh,
they made it up
so
because
bad that they had to remove it from the contract.
Because it was controversy because they don't need that bad PR, dude. Someone
Well,
made
they
that
already
up
created the
because
bad PR. You might as well just live in it.
he played Call of Duty, which a lot of guys in the league do. But there was a weird correlation. Ooh, that anytime a new COD game came out, the next week or that week, Kyler Murray would have a very poor game in the NFL. And then people were like, ooh, he's been playing Call of Duty.
Well, he's
with
not
zero
studying.
evidence.
He's not putting top 10 QB money effort into
Zero-
it. So I had
zero
to call him out here. All right.
Okay.
And so let's move on. Let's move on. And remember, let us know who's right, who's wrong in the comments. Anybody else? Do you think maybe Kirk Cousins? I don't know.
It could be Kirk. He's
Shade,
old.
shade.
Coming off of
He is old.
an
He
Achilles.
is old.
Yeah.
And if you're still with us, thank you so much. Make
yeah.
sure to subscribe to the channel,
Yeah.
like the video,
Okay.
hit the dangly little notification bell.
Next.
Because it helps with the channel. Next, Brandon.
We're going to be doing wide receivers.
Wide receiver.
We do expect this to change because JJ will be in the... Should we just assume JJ's number one? No, just kidding. Okay, here, I'm going to switch the list.
Yeah, then he'd be the most overpaid and overrated wide receiver in the NFL. Coined it. Coined
ready?
it. That's right. Switch it over.
Boom. Filtering, sorting. There you go.
Ooh. And again, don't worry about Calvin Ridley. He's going to play for the Tennessee Titans, so he is no longer relevant in the NFL. Anyway, here we go. Average annual salary.
Ooh, our
when it
new
comes
boy,
to wide
Nico
receivers. Nico Collins. Wow, with that contract today, jumping up to number 7. All right, all right. You know, if I may, you had honors last time. I'm gonna jump in and I'm gonna lead it off here.
Yeah.
Wide receivers in the top 10 to be overrated.
Ooh.
Well, I look at this list and I think there are several receivers that I can make an argument about. But I gotta go for the here. Jugular. And the San Francisco 49ers are in a conundrum. They have Brandon Ayuk wanting $30 million plus a year, allegedly. And they've got another wide receiver making just about $24 million a year. But he's like a hybrid wide receiver. He's built stronger like a running back, but he's got the speed and agile nature to be a wide receiver. So when you get him in space, he's absolutely dangerous. But again, we get to this whole injury bug, and Deebo Samuel is hurt more often than he is not. And when he disappears from a game, and yes, you can say that the San Francisco 49ers have such a plethora of weapons out there that, hey, it's not always the Deebo show, but Deebo can show up, especially you line him up everywhere. Kyle Shanahan is constantly scheming for Deebo Samuel to get out there. And him making $24 million a year over guys like Stephon Diggs, over T. Higgins. I would 100% pay T. Higgins more than I would Deebo Samuel. You know, Mike Evans has proven way more. I just don't think Deebo Samuel is worth that much money. And that's what I think the 49ers are potentially looking at too right now. Is that, yes, Ayuk requested a trade. Yes, he's going to cost a lot of money. But if they were going to trade him, again, similar to the other conversation that we were having, they should have done it before the draft. And they would have got more of a return with that. But maybe they realized, maybe it's Deebo that we need to get rid of. We want Kittle. He's not just the pass catching threat. He's a phenomenal blocker, potentially and arguably the best blocking tight end combo with the pass catching ability in the NFL. Then Ayuk came on 75 or so, 76 catches for 1,500 or 1,300 plus yards last year. Wow, in terms of average per catch. And he's the guy that seems to have that connection with Brock Purdy. And if Brock Purdy's the man, and especially on this cheap contract, get rid of Deebo Samuel, the hybrid running back receiver, and keep Ayuk with the rest of the core, that solid defense, the mastermind in Kyle Shanahan.
You're getting off topic. You're talking about way too much stuff here with the Niners.
Yeah, it's all supporting my argument that Deebo Samuel can go. Deebo Samuel does not deserve top 10 wide receiver money, and he is my choice for overrated, overpaid, and overhyped.
It's just, it's tough. This is a big difference in price for, number 9 and number 1.
Yes.
Like, this guy's making just over 2/3 ish. I don't know, man. When I look at this,
Be spicy, man. You make a spicy pick.
when I look at this list, you mentioned Mike Evans. Didn't he just sign something? Why is he not here? Like, I could scroll down, but
Mike Evans is at $20.5 million a year.
Huh.
He's sitting at 16.
Okay. First thought. Not saying this is the one. It's freaking Devontae Adams. How old? That guy's old now, no? How much longer is he on this contract? I wonder how much longer he's got.
I think he's got at least 3 years.
That's messed up. They're cutting him before that, right?
Probably. So he signed a 5-year, $140 million contract in 2022, so 2 years ago. Contract runs through 2027.
Dog. Hey, they're cutting him because because they're going to be overpaying him. His cap hit's going to be ridiculous later on.
And the Raiders are not going to be competitive.
Gardner Minshew? Throwing to him?
Hey, I think Gardner Minshew is going to have a sweet season.
I love
they should choose Gardner Minshew over whatever the heck.
Aiden O'Connell.
Aiden O'Connell, right?
That guy's a bum.
AOC, boo.
Devontae Adams argument could be made. He's up there. He's got a high price tag. We're comparing to Debo. It's $4 million more than Debo.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So make your choice, Brandon.
But
who is overpaid and overhyped, and you have to take that into consideration. The jump between 1 and 10.
The pay, yeah, exactly. Because that's what we're saying here. Who's paid too high? So I know that the market is creeping higher and higher. As every position, other than running backs, but there's more money out there, so there's higher contracts. I get that. That being said, if you'll notice,
you are dragging on.
There is only one team that has 2 people on this list. I think I can make an argument for both of these guys.
Ooh, spicy. Okay, let's start with number 6 then.
Okay,
let's start with number 6.
Now, I'll preface by saying that I think number 6 would be my choice. Having your number 2 being paid $25 million when he had a pretty off season last year. Like, we could talk about the offense struggling and the scheming and the offensive coordinator and Jalen Hurts, whatever. This dude was dropping wide open passes. And it was heartbreaking. And I hate the Eagles. But it sucks to see somebody struggle like that. He was dropping wide open passes, and it was just, I don't know. $25 million to be the 6th highest paid when you're not even the number 1 choice? That's garbage. That's garbage.
I hear you, but we look back at the contracts. If we were to look at this list last year, and I'm curious what that would be. We had 2 $20 million receivers in Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, and looking at this, doesn't seem so bad now. Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown. And yes, I think when both sets are fully healthy, Keenan Allen and Mike Williams can absolutely give A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith a run for the money, especially last year. But yeah, last year for Devonta Smith, 81 receptions for just over 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns. So not terrible, but for $25 million a year, that's what you're talking about. This is the metric, and so
that's JJ stats. That's JJ stats over 10 games.
Yes.
And then we can jump up to number one. And
You're
the
saying
reason
AJ Brown is overpaid and overhyped and
I'm
overrated?
saying that the AJ stands for Average Joe Brown. Average Joe Brown, 32. You're telling me he gets paid more than Tyreek? And Tyreek gets paid a lot. You're telling me that he gets paid like Amon-Ra St. Brown is a dog, man. AJ Brown, this is like the result. This is the Jamal Adams contract. Ooh, we traded a first round pick for you. We traded lots for you. We have lots invested in you. So if we don't sign you for what you want because you have all the leverage, then we wasted that first pick. We didn't choose, Traylon Burks, who was a bum.
Yeah.
There's more
Yes.
at play here to get him more money because they've already invested so much into him that they can't give that up now.
Right. And hey, I'm with you, but we have to consider that this is the second contract that the Eagles have given AJ Brown. Because that's why he was traded out of the Tennessee Titans, is he wanted the contract and they were not willing to pay him. So the Eagles traded their first round pick and boom shakala, the Eagles signed him to, I feel like it was a 4-year, $100 million contract. So 25 mil
Then they
a
re-upped
year.
him.
They re-upped him, yes.
That's even more because he's got all the power and he's like, bitches, I'm going to sit out. You're going to pay
Right.
Devonta Smith 25? That's what he said. He went in there and he said, you're going to overpay $25 million for Devonta Smith? I better be getting more than that. That's exactly what
Well, give me
happened.
$7
right?
more mil a year.
You can't
I wonder
pay-
what Devonta Smith is thinking too. It's like, wait, 7 mil a year on a percentage basis. Like, that's a huge jump.
It's a huge jump. You can't pay.
Did I just get screwed?
Yeah, but he's the number 2 option, right? That's the reality.
Right.
But you can't pay your number 1 the same as your number 2. Wide receivers are divas, other than one guy that I know.
Hey, we paid 20 million per.
Yeah,
for
but and
Nick
you
Williams, Keenan Allen.
that was a poor choice. It was wild.
Yes, and now the Eagles are paying top money to running back, top money to wide receiver. I believe top money to tight end too with Dallas Goedert, top money to quarterback. And now, but the thing is, they built out their defense with all these superstar rookies because everybody's letting them fall to the Eagles. So
Okay.
it's working right now. And if they can convert and get a Super Bowl here,
It's worth it.
it'll all be worth it.
It's all worth it. Okay. So I was gonna choose Devonta Smith, but I'm choosing AJ Brown. This is way too high. I, joke about it, call him average Joe Brown. I think he's a stellar wide receiver. He does great. I don't think he's better than a lot of these guys. Like, I'm choosing Cooper Kupp, I'm choosing Tyreek, I'm choosing Amon-Ra, and then we got CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson that aren't on this list. I'm choosing, he'd be maybe around a Debo.
Yeah, but
for
all
me.
those people are going to be above AJ Brown.
Yeah, fair. But this is a ridiculous number. To be like up in that same bracket is pretty wild. 32 million for this guy, actually. The more that I look at it and the more that I see how much more, like he's getting paid 9 million more than Debo, or 8 million-ish more than Debo. That's gross, man. Oh.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. My favorite thing, hey, I'm not. First of all, I'm not gonna argue with you. I think that is an astronomical figure. Who knows if it's gonna work out for the Eagles, but I don't know if I would say he is the he's the number 1 choice. He is not mine. I still stick with Debo Samuel and those Niners. But my favorite thing
so
about this
low,
list,
though.
we talk about Amon-Ra St. Brown being a dog, the sun god, right? but there's a little bit of pettiness and this like little edge of competitiveness that Amon-Ra St. Brown. Based off these numbers, when I look at
I
Tyreek
know.
Hill, $30 million a year, and Amon-Ra St. Brown says, no, I need to beat him. I don't care how much I beat him by, but I need to beat him. So I'm gonna go at 30 million. 2,500
It's
a year.
such a bitch move. Like, so petty. So that's what I'm saying. They got wide receivers all have that diva in them.
Oh goodness, that's so
$2,500
so
when you're
funny.
dealing, and that's per year. So over
And then AJ
his
Brown
4
says,
years,
no, absolutely not. I'm gonna smack that deal out of here, and I'm gonna jump to 32 million a year and make the Minnesota Vikings pay 40 mil a year for Justin Jefferson.
It's just when I look at Amon-Ra and he goes, yeah, 30 mil a year, cool, but it's actually 120 million over 4 years. But then he goes, not 120 million. I don't want 120 million. I want 120 million and $10,000, please. Like,
Yeah, can I get another 10 grand?
120 million?
10 racks, please.
Added to the signing bonus. I want that now. I've been looking at something. That's crazy, yeah.
It's so funny. Buy me a watch.
Anyway, yeah.
All right, well, there we have it.
There we have
this
it.
week, we have done it. Overrated, overpaid, and overhyped quarterbacks on an average annual salary basis and wide receivers. Do you agree with us? Do you disagree with us? When we look at this list, yeah, there are some other names that we could potentially have an argument for, especially when you scroll down and see who's below them. So let us know who is actually the most overpaid wide receiver when it comes to the NFL in 2024. And if you're with us, again, thank you so much for stopping by. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit the like on the video and the notification bell. Make sure you don't miss anything. You can continue the conversation with us. Talk football all day, every day. And let's look forward to the season. Next week, we'll continue with the highest paid overrated players in the NFL. So stay tuned, and we'll see you next time. Brennan, send us off.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, everybody. Have a good week. Have a good week. And remember, Skol Bolts, baby.
Skol Bolts.